This is how we draw Garfield. Garfield actually is in 3 equal parts. If you draw 3 circles, just like this, you got all the Garfield parts, the head, the belly, and the feet. Now from here, I start with the eyeballs. The eyeballs are like the windows to the soul, and they're the most important part because they're the expression. And you can see I start with 2 circles and work them like this. We're working at like a 3/4 angle, and then on top of that I put his ears. Everything that's expressive on Garfield is large. You notice he has the big eyes and then this big mouth. And that way when he smiles very big. And this is very important in getting the humor and to helping the character act as well. Now we round out this top circle with the jaws and his big cheeks, and give him little cat whiskers up here. You notice how they're kind of fall down with the weight of gravity there. And also, Garfield isn't perfect circles. Notice this. Look how there's this natural weight. He looks like a water balloon, and that just makes him look like he's actually grounded somewhere. And underneath this, then we do the same thing with the belly. Notice how it's flat and then rounds a little more here. Here's his back shoulder and his bottom, and then the arms hang not straight down, but have a little bit of bend to them. Everything's a little bit angular, you'll notice. And this keeps everything soft and flowing and animated. And this is his hand, he's waving, so we use these little motion lines like this to indicate movement up and down. So do some more stripes here. I just do little squiggles for the stripes. Doing a drawing like this. Now here, we do his feet. Now he doesn't have little tiny cat feet. He has big feet to give him some natural weight. That's so he doesn't fall over. Finish this out, give him another foot back there. Again, everything's real rounded and very flowing. And this, I think this is funnier. It's just funnier to have lines like this. If the lines are real straight, then they're real stiff, and there's not much humor. You know, everything, they look like they're very uncomfortable when they move around. So let's see. And don't forget, when you're done here, put some little shadows under the character so it looks like you're standing on the ground. And the most important part, of course, is signing your work. So put your signature underneath like this. There you have it. That's how we draw Garfield. This is how we draw Odie. The interesting thing about Odie is that I place the eyes at this spot on the page, hoping that he's going to fit on the page when I get done. Well, the trick to that is that you have to visualize the character in your head. You have to visualize anything in your head before you can put it down on the paper, because your hands don't know where to go. So I visualize him right here on the page, and then we start drawing him from here out. The fun thing about Odie is that he's all happiness and he's all rubber, especially like with these ears. You can see, I always think of big rubbery, like rabbit ears when I draw him. He's got this little head, because he has a little brain, and then this great big happy smile. In fact, the bigger I make the tongue, the funnier he is. Again, there aren't any straight lines here on the character anywhere. And that just keeps him real loose. He has this little tiny body. And look at this little tail. I put little action lines here on the tail. His tail's always wagging because he's always happy. And then he has these big puppy feet. And then he's got these great big feet like this. And a little tummy. There we go. And a little spot right there. Now the fun thing about Odie, he's so enthusiastic. He loves life so much. He's always slobbering. In fact, most dogs do it, but he's the poster child for it. The more slobber I give him, the funnier he is. In fact, we'll give him a great big old pool of slobber right here. There we go. And don't forget to put your signature on the drawing. There it is. And that's Odie. This is how we draw Pooky. Pooky is the teddy bear. And you have to think of this character as marshmallows. He's like big lumps of clay, and we put him together with two basic circles, a big head and a big body, and then we attach the feet and the arms and everything like that. So I work from the eyeballs out. He has these little eyeballs here. And then I start constructing everything else. I get this natural weight going. See how we do the circles down here to make him look like he's sort of filled with fluid. And then we fit the ears on here. Now the arms kind of droop and come over him like that. And the feet are real floppy. And they flow in like this. So now with that in mind, then I can start putting the big drawing together. We give him a little bit of hair to make him look kind of natural there. There we go. And you can see when everything overlaps, you kind of have to do construction drawings underneath so that you don't draw one line over another. And this helps fill it in like this. There we go. And notice how everything's kind of floppy, how everything kind of droops on him. And then here he's got this big natural weight at the bottom and little padded feet. He's a brown bear, but he's got these little pink pads. Makes him kind of cute. He's one of Garfield's favorite people. And then we put these little dots on here. See these little dots? These make him look like he's kind of fuzzy. And then the most important part is to give him those shadows again so that he looks like he has this natural weight. And it's just like that. He's very cute. He doesn't talk at all, so it's hard to give him expression. He's one of the tougher characters to work with, but you know he's one of people's favorite characters because he's so sweet. And then you add the perfunctory signature right there. And that's Pooky. I'm Jim Davis, and this is Paws Incorporated, where the Garfield comic strip is drawn every day. We've created an exclusive comic strip for this DVD, and we're going to show you how it was drawn. The process of creating the exclusive strip for the DVD is exactly the same process I go through in creating the regular Garfield comic strip for the newspapers. I write the comic strip 1 week out of the month, and what I've learned is that if I can really focus a week on just the writing of the strip, I can create a month's worth of gags. Garfield writes his own material. I simply edit. It's really getting into this almost meditative state. He has to make me laugh first before I write anything else down. Sometimes the gags don't come as easily as other times, so I do use some tricks to get into a funnier mood. It helps to be rested, by the way. I drink coffee to get the heart pounding. Also, I like to read comic books. When it's all complete in my head, then I start the rough drawing. I hear the voice, I see the characters, and I very quickly try to sketch it out before the image goes away. The trick is actually freeze framing Garfield because he's animated in my head, so I have to stop him in just the appropriate position because I only have 3 frames to work within. I set the gag up, I twist it, and then I resolve the situation. When I'm done with the thumbnail sketches, then I take them to Eric for penciling.
Hi, I'm Eric Reeves, and I do the blue line and lettering for the Garfield comic strip. Okay, what I'm doing now is just interpreting Jim's rough sketch and taking it into a more final look. You can draw circles, you can draw Garfield. We use the cotton glove simply to keep our body oils and grease off the surface while we're drawing. When you make a mistake, it's really no big deal. You just get your eraser out and erase. Once the blue line pencils are done, then I put the lettering on. The Garfield strip is a little different in that we do all our lettering by hand. So when I sit down and do the lettering, you have that hand feel that you don't get from a computer. You know, every E is not exactly the same. It gives it, just a little bit more character to the strip. Once the lettering is done, then my job is over, and I walk it over to Lars, and he starts on the inking.
Hi, my name is Larry Fence. Some people call me Lars, and I ink the Garfield comic strip. And I usually start inking on either the eyes or Garfield's nose, just because it's the center of his face, and the ovals seem to be the most difficult to do, so I get those out of the way right off the bat. The black line just allows you to see the line work more readily. It prints easier. The blue line would actually drop out, so that's basically a map or a guideline to ink by. This headset allows me to magnify the strip so I can see what I'm inking. I have to be able to control the brush precisely, and it's difficult if you can't see the brush. Well, not everybody has to wear these, just the old guys. The ink dries pretty fast, but I have caught myself going faster than the ink dries. And that's it, we're ready for color.
Hi, I'm Tom Howard. I'm the colorist for the Garfield cartoon strip. So I basically have it scanned in the computer, and then it'll become a digital file, and from there it comes into my Photoshop program where I'll start my coloring. The stylus, I can basically get in and color things in a very tight kind of motion. Also, a stylus gives you a little more flexibility for the artist. Rather than using a block of soap or something like that, the stylus gives an artist the same feel as a brush or a pen. We have certain colors that we use for the Garfield characters: the oranges, the browns, the yellows. One Garfield orange, it's a sort of a vibrant orange. It's a 137 is what its number is. There's an open area where the inker hasn't filled in a line or connected a line. The color will come all the way through into the background. So for this particular one, I'm going to kind of fill in a little bit of Garfield here and overlap. And basically I'll fill in as much as I can here to try to find the open spaces, and basically fill in like this. Then I'll go back and use white to clean up the edges. Garfield's lip is a Pantone 100, and basically I'll go in here and fill in the open areas here with a brush tool. Looks like we're all done now, and this will go off to Jim for his approval. Here you go, Jim.
This is brilliant. Who wrote this?
You did, Mr. Davis.
Oh, of course. And what you've seen up to now is really easy. Now comes the really tough part, and that is sending the comic strips to the newspapers. This is how we do it.